My name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. Before I get started today, I realized that one of the things, if you don't follow me, you might not know that at the beginning of the month I got sick. I got really sick, and so I was down for about 2 weeks. So then in the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to play catch up, and I was filming at a pretty quick clip. And so usually when we're kind of into a catalog, I like to show you some of the things that I've posted in case you've missed them, and I haven't been doing that. So I'm going to take a second just to show you a couple of the videos that I have up in case you missed them, so you can go back. These are all things that do have YouTube tutorials posted, and it's most certainly not all of them because I started posting from the January to June mini catalog and celebration probably mid-December. So I do have a fair few videos up because I do like to do 3 or 4 a week. So if you take it, of course, Christmas I missed, and then when I was sick, but I think I'm catching back up. So here's one with the celebration cake and the dies that go with it. So that one's up. I have several with the cake and with that cake stand because I love it. Then I also have a fair few from Tropical Oasis. So here's this one, and this one just uses the dies, and it uses my aqua painters with the refills in them. I also have a lot of playlists. So if you see something that you like, you might click on the playlist because I love the aqua painters with the refills. And so every time I do a video with that, I add it to that list. So then you can just go back and easily find all of those together. This is again, Tropical Oasis. It has some of my dyed ribbon. And I do have a video that shows you how to do that. We're gonna use some dyed ribbon again today. Here's another one. This one has one of the flowers from the Tropical Oasis. It's fallen off. This is another one with the cake and the cake dies, but you can see I'm not using the cake. And this one also has one of the pieces from the Poppy Elements, and that's my free thank you gift for February. So there's still a couple of days left in February. By the time this posts, there might be just 1 or 2. But each month I offer a thank you gift, and that is my thank you gift this month. This is also from the Poppy Elements. And this is also with the aqua painters with the refills. I like to do a, they're not really series, but once I get going with something, I like to kind of keep them together. Then this is my most recent post until today's goes up. So this is really fun. This is one of the ones this one uses the new celebration releases that will come out on March 3rd. So those are the cups. And then it also uses, I think is one of the must-have sleeper sets from the annual catalog, A Wish for Everything. And it's got literally every holiday practically that you could make a card for. You can get those words out of it. And then this one uses the blends, and it posted just before that one. And it's a little, and also the cake stand. So we've got the blends going, we've got celebration new release paper, and so cake stand, blend, celebration new release. So today I have celebration new release and blends. So it's got a little window opening there. My cat's got his ball downstairs because, he's like a child. As soon as he hears me start talking to nobody, he thinks it's time to play. So the celebration catalog new release, this is not that catalog. So I've picked up the wrong one because they look very similar. This one, all celebration goes through the 30th of March, 31st of March. But a new one does start on March 3rd. I can see it down on the floor. I'm not going to reach down and get it. And if you want me to mail one of those, I'm mailing them to everybody who's ordered online from me through February 29th. So if you still want one, just place an order before the end of February, and I will stick one in the mail with your thank you gift and your thank you card. Everybody who places a $100 order with me now through February 29th is also going into a drawing for the little ladybug set. So then what I'm using today, I'm using 2 things. I'm using this stamp bundle, the So Sentimental bundle, which is the Stitch So Sweetly dies, which love, love, love. Again, another must-have in my opinion. You will use them now until forever because the shapes are great, great sizes. And then I am using one of the stamps out of the So Sentimental stamp set that's part of that bundle, and that is in our January to June mini catalog. And then I'm using this beautiful paper. You are just going to love it, love it, love it. It's available as a freebie starting March 3rd. So hopefully you can see it. I do have a video on both my Instagram and Facebook. So you get several different patterns. This is one of the ones we're using today. And look at this one. I was tempted to use this one today, We're definitely, this is a camp card. So if you're in the Indianapolis area, this is one of our March camp projects. Obviously, this is a piece that we're using today. So let me move this out of the way so it doesn't, my cats don't come and step on it because I don't want to ruin that paper. And he's likely to bring me his ball. He thinks he's a dog. So we are going to use this, and we're going to just use it instead of having a focal stamp image today. We're going to use the paper. But I did want to show you, anytime you have paper like this and you're choosing to use it, like I did it with the snowmen, I've done it with pumpkins, and you know, a lot of them end up getting chopped. So on the card that you're going to see that I've already done, I've used these two beautiful flowers that nothing is hacked off. But there's not a whole lot of those because there's a lot of individual flowers. So there may be like 1, 2, 3, you may get 4 on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper. But you don't want to waste a whole sheet of 12 by 12 paper and only get 4 designs. So for the one that I'm going to do for you, I've already pre-cut a little bit. See, I've taken one of these that was on an edge. So we have one full flower, and I was going to cut them out, but then I decided to let you see how I'm going to cut it. And then I've got one of these individuals because there's a bunch of individual flowers. And these would also be small, nice if you're making a smaller card, but I'm going to be able to just kind of mount this around here. So some of this is going to have to go because you don't want to leave here. But I decided to wait until I kind of color it and then cut this out to see exactly what has to go. Because some of this might be able to stay if we want to build it a little taller. Because these, see here, they overlap, so you're not getting full flowers. So we'll do something just a tiny bit different, and that makes much better use of your paper because you don't want to throw that away. And if you're doing this like I am at a camp, not everybody's going to be able to get these because we couldn't pre-order packets and packets and packets of this paper. So I have to make it work so it can be done. And the card's beautiful. So once I was done, I was like, yeah, we're making this at camp. Plus it's easy. So we've got this, and then like I said, we're using this piece here. So let's color it first. I'm gonna just color it in with the blends. So the colors I chose are soft seafoam, and I used mostly brush tips. So let's start with the dark, because you're just kind of coloring a big area. And you do want to put, definitely have some scrap paper underneath you, because this paper is not cardstock thick. And I'm just going to take the time and color, well, not that, because that's obviously not going to go. Everything on this one's going to stay for sure. I'm not coloring the whole thing because I'm going to go back in with my lights. So this is just kind of the center highlights. And this lovely foil design here, which on this one you get silver and copper, but it does resist the blends. And I'm just going to go back and hit this again to get some of it a little bit darker in the middle. But it definitely does bleed through. So if you don't have something underneath it, then you're going to have this design on your table. It's a tiny bit hard to see because it's actually sunny. It's snowy. It's not snowing now. It snowed yesterday. But it is sunny today. We haven't had sun for a few days now. So I'll take the sun with the snow. But with my studio lights and the sun coming in the window, this silver is, I could put my head right over the top, but who wants to see the top of my head? It's kind of hard to see the silver. And like I said, I'm not sure. Some of that may come off, but it's just easier to color it and have to go back. Now at camp, I will have 2 of these, so the girls who get a whole flower cut will be able to see what they need, and the girls who are going to do this version will be able to see what they need. I really can't see that one. I think I got it. So there's our soft seafoam. Then I have Calypso Coral. And we noticed at camp last month this has some pearls that's somewhere along the line. It's got some pearls. For this, I'm going to use the bullet tip because I'm going to just do right here, and I want that to be pretty dark because you're not working with a whole lot of space on these centers. And I want it to get down in there. And then I can use my brush tip for this part just to kind of add Add some orange center. And then I have the Rococo Rose. And again, I'm gonna start, on this I'm gonna use the brush tip as well, just because it gets a darker color quicker. And everywhere where I want a little bit of dark, I'm just gonna kind of pull that in there. But because you can press harder with the bullet tip, I'm just gonna pull that in there. I'm just gonna do this one flower, and then I'm going to finish them and come back and show you what it looks like. So I've got that. And then I can take my brush tip and just brush that over the top. And because it resists the foil, you don't have to stay in the lines of the petals. You can just go right over the top. But you can see that because I was able to press harder with the bullet tip, it gives a nice definition of color. So we have some dark and some light without having to do a ton of the actual blending. Okay, so we've got that one. So I'll go ahead and color these and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've colored these in. They're all colored in. It just took a couple of seconds. You can see you get nice blending. I do want to tell you that you don't want to use the bullet tip and scrub like over the top of any of the color. Here, I don't want to really ruin the blend. But I don't know if you can see this here. If you scrub long enough, that will totally disappear. So you don't want to scrub, and there's no reason to. You don't need to, because you get plenty of color without pressing terribly hard. So don't do that. Just a word of warning, because you don't want your design to disappear. But I also wanted to show you, if you're not working on scrap paper, it's kind of almost pretty, this, but the front of this paper is so pretty, you don't want to use that. But look how pretty the back is. It almost gives a no-line watercolor look. So now we're going to cut these out. And again, I'm going to cut one. I might not even show you the whole thing. I did want to tell you that you want to leave just a border of white whenever you cut. And when you cut, it's easier to hold your scissors still and move your paper. So if you don't leave that little border of white, then it's easy to cut into your design. But if you leave the border, then you have a little room for error. So let me cut these out and then I'll be back with you. Okay, so I've got these cut out, and then we will decide what to do about this straight part once we get it all mounted together. So we've got a couple other things left. This card doesn't take a lot of time. The coloring and the cutting are your most time consuming part, but they don't take long. And if you enjoy coloring as much as I do, then it's fun. So this piece here, it's really pretty on its own, but I want it to match my card. This would make a really pretty wedding card. I'm doing it as an all occasion or a birthday card. So I've got my Rococo Rose and just a stamping sponge, which these, you often see me use them to glue my dies down that I've cut out, the thinner ones. But this is really what they were made for a long time ago. I just want to get some color on here. I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to have gradients of color. So just get it on here. You could use a sponge brayer. I'm not real fond of using the sponge brayers with our new ink pads. I think the little nubbies on them, when you use them at camp, if you're just using them one-off, I think they're fine. But at camp, I've noticed that they kind of then put like little nidges in my pad. So I'd rather do it this way. So if you're doing it like this, mine needs to be re-inked because I've already done a couple of cards now with it. The other thing that you can do is, and we've also just recently used it for watercoloring, so I really did need to re-ink it. And I know I have the re-inker because I made the ribbon, but you can also put some color on like this. So this is really the fastest way. Look how pretty that is. And because it's gonna resist all that foil, the only thing is it kind of gets your hands dirty. You can pull it off all that foil. And it also gives it a nice like little textured look. So that's not how I did it on my first card. This will be a little bit darker, but I just wanted to show you the difference. And then just kind of fill in where it didn't hit. And the longer you work with it, the darker you can get it to go. And of course, a lot of this is going to end up getting covered up by our designs. And your hands do get dirty. So, but it's nice because this way you have a white-based free paper that you can get during celebration. And then you can make it be any color that you need to match designs that you'll later go with. It does take just a second to dry because I put so much ink on it, but by the time I've done my embossing, it will be finished. So now I've got a piece of soft seafoam scrap here. This is the only stamping we're gonna do on the card. And I will tell you that I debated because this pretty paper has copper and silver in it. So I thought about embossing in silver, but copper is my favorite color. So the copper one. But I think it would be pretty, especially maybe if you were doing a wedding card to do the sentiment in silver, or if you want a silver anniversary. So I've just got my Versamark. I'm just gonna stamp this from the So Sentimental bundle. I have my copper embossing powder, which is old. You can always tell how old our embossing powders are by the lid that it has on it. Get the P there, and this says your friendship is a blessing, which I like that because at camp, if they want it for a just because card or a thank you card, whatever you put on the inside, then that's what the card becomes. Because this can easily be a birthday card just by putting happy birthday for your friend on the inside. But it also makes a great thinking of you card or a thank you card. So I'm going to emboss this. Put it up where you can see. The copper is one of the easier ones to see when it melts. So if you've not done embossing before, this was how I started stamping, was embossing. I didn't have hardly any inks. In fact, I didn't own a black ink pad for probably the first 2 years that I stamped. I just embossed everything. But you can see it went from not shiny to shiny. You do need it to cool off just a second because it's not hot, but I don't want to send it through my die cut machine while it's warm because it'll smash it down. So let's go back over here and we'll decide what we're going to do with this just while that cools off. So I have a half a sheet of Rococo Rose. Fold that in half. I have a freshly filled snail. If you watched my last video, of course I ran out because I only ever run out of these things if I'm filming. I never just run out while I'm just sitting. So again, with this, you can kind of decide where to put the color. And I know up here is going to have a lot of ribbon and stuff going on, so I'm going to put it this way. So the bottom, where there's not quite as much going on, has more of that. So now let's decide what to do with this. I'm not going to stick it on because my sentiment's going to go down here. And I don't want it to go off the card. So I've got that. And then I can put this. Maybe. So we need to get these leaves off here, which is nice. Once the girls do it at camp, they can just kind of copy what I did. So let's get rid of these. But this is how you can use up those edges of the paper. Because once that little side leaf is gone, it has a flat right there. Then your flower is perfectly fine. See, now we're good. But I do like these. I like that we have a little bit of extra up here, and I like that one leaf. So let's keep that for now. You can see I didn't trim any of these because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Now, I don't know how much of this we're going to be able to keep and how much we're going to need to get rid of. Because it needs to stay on the card. And it needs, the flat bit needs to be covered up. But I think, I'm going to take this flat bit here and just go in with it a little bit. So it's not so flat. That way, if any of it ends up when I stick it on, if it's showing, it's not like, well, there's an edge of the paper, because there I think we're good. Okay, let's run this through the die cut machine. And here's the little frame from the Stitch So Sweetly. And it just takes one pass, but it does help if you don't go speed bump. So put it on straight and then just make sure this isn't going straight through. Then you don't get that horrible little clunk, and it's much better for your dies. See, it's just nice and smooth. And just look how adorable these are. See, there's no sticking, there's no clunky. And it's much better for your dies if you don't hear that clunk. But see, it's got the stitching and the scallop. It's so cute. So let's start by putting this down in the corner, because the card basically is going to be the same as my others, even though the flowers are going to go in some different directions. So I stuck this down here. I did a little bit of overlap. So this went out a little bit out from the edge of that. And let's stick this guy on. Well, first I need my ribbon. So I did dye some Rococo Rose ribbon. This is the tulle. So just get a little bit of it and take a glue dot. If you follow my channel, you see me do this a lot. It's a faux bow, no tying involved, because I know some of you hate to tie bows. I like to tie bows, but this card already has a lot going on. It doesn't need a whole bow on it. And this is great for those of you who don't like to tie bows. It's also great because you get the full effect of a bow without using very much ribbon at all. So I've done, get that glue dot. I've done one like loop here with one glue dot holding it together. Then take another glue dot just on top of where you just did that. Take this bit here, right in the center, kind of make bunny ears. And then pull those up. So now you have a little ribbon wisp. And then I need to kind of figure out where this is going to go. Maybe here. I don't want these to cover up my words, but that works. And then take one more glue dot. And stick that so it's going to hold this here. And the rest of this is going to be held on with snail. There's no dimensionals or anything holding this card together. So you want to make sure you're not going to cover up your words and that everything's pretty much going to stay on the card. This would get smushed in an envelope if you're putting it in an envelope. And then if you want, you can put another glue dot here to kind of hold that where you want it to be. And then we can just put this here. Let's do it the best way because we don't want to lose the center of that flower and we don't want this to go off the edge of the card, but it works. So you gain a ton more uses of flowers off of the sheet of cardstock by being able to use these that will have the flat. Then just a couple of embellishments. I have the champagne rhinestones that are in the January to June holiday catalog, mini catalog. It's no holiday. So I'm gonna add 2 of these. Let's put one here. These are a great rhinestone because even though there's champagne and I didn't use champagne, they look copper because they're on with the copper paper. And then these are our 2019-2021 in color. I'm going to use a big one. Stick it up here. And then a little one. And put it here. Just so you've got some random. Isn't that pretty? So really the only work is the coloring and the cutting. The rest of it's so super simple. So here's one where the flowers were already pre-done together. This one requires a tiny bit more cutting, but you do end up with a little bit more. So the girls that get this one at camp will have a couple more flowers. but they'll have a little bit more work to get there. So I hope you enjoy that. This paper is just lovely, and you'll be able to color it all year round. If it gets to fall and you still have some left, you can color it some lovely shades of yellows and oranges and reds and get it to look fall. If you want now, you could do it in some purples and yellows and have it really be spring looking. So it's beautiful, beautiful paper. So first camp project done for March. I always like when I get that first one done and I can cross it off my list. So have a great day. Bye.